Okay. Okay, perfect. Good morning, guys. I'm going to be sending this link in a moment, okay? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, give me a moment, guys. I'm just sending this. Okay, the next trades. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Give me a second. Okay, perfect. So this is going to be not a very long stream, okay? We're going to be covering basically updates on Bitcoin, updates on Ethereum. We're going to be checking some altcoins maybe. But the idea is basically recording this video so you can have like the updates on the challenge account, on the plan, sorry, what I'm expecting next in the upcoming days, and yeah, basically this is going to be pretty much all for today. So give me a moment, okay? Give me a second, guys. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I was posting the link here on Twitter. But yeah, basically, let's start, guys. Okay, I had to move the scale up from stream today because I wasn't trading today in New York. So let's move on to the next. So basically, okay, what do we have here? Let's start as always. Like I like to start on the monthly chart. Okay, so what do we have here? Same as last month, we have the internal of the monthly verbal gap. Perfect. We just had the close, which was a close above the okay, let me mark out this properly. Perfect, which was a close, as you can see, above the CE. We took previous one low, we close above, we had a bullish close. Now I'm expecting price to hit the other side of the range. Before this, I want to see price retracing to the OTE of the current range, which is basically the range that we have from this point A to this point B, okay? So what do we have here? We have OTE, optimal trade entry zone, and we can pair this with the liquidity that we left. Yeah, perfect. we compare this with the liquidity that we left on the daily chart in the form of equal lows. Okay, so what do we have here? We have equal lows, we have basically discount of the range. Okay, we have also pretty much a golden pocket OTE level, which is basically this one, and this is where I would expect price to put in the low of the month. In general, in any place within this week of the last month. Now, the way I'm going to be looking for plays in the next days, likely tomorrow or during the weekend, is to form here some type of range. Okay, get deviation into this key level, and then I would take a trade on a structural shift at any of the point of interest. Okay, the point of interest are either this swing or this one. Okay, we also have, for example, on lower time frames, this H4 OB. Okay, I would use this one, all this OB, which again we compare with the liquidity that we left. And if you want to see it, for example, from a range perspective, I mean, this is the current composite. Sorry, let me move this. This is pretty much the current composite value area. Perfect here. This is the moment we broke from this previous range. I mean, you can see here, we created a range here. And let's wait for this to... Okay, perfect. Give me a moment. Okay, perfect. We created this previous range. We rejected value area low or range lows after we broke below. And now we are creating a new range exactly below this one. Okay, I'm eventually expecting price to break down above this level and give me the shift on the daily here. But in the meantime, we just play level by level, and what we have is basically perfect here. We have value high, which was the one that we rated yesterday during Trump news. We have value low here, and now I'm expecting price to deviate from value low. We already put in a small wick here. Personally, this is not the type of reaction I want to see too long. Even though, for example, on the H4 we already put in a relative volume candle. You should be able to visualize it here. You can see here we put in a relative volume candle, and we took some of the lows that we generated before. But I'm expecting a deeper pullback. Now, if, for example, if price give me a shift in structure on the M15, like a proper one here, then maybe I can attempt an intraday trade, a scalp today. We can generate, for example, at the breaker here with a fair value gap. This could be valid as a scalp to attempt maybe some trade. And actually, I would prefer to wait for the breaker. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I would prefer to wait for the breaker here and for this shift in the structure. Actually, this one. Why this one? Because this is the point where we would be reclaiming also monthly opening. Okay, I don't want to enter if we're trading below monthly opening and we haven't, for example, tapped my main levels. So this is where I would try my first position, a really small one, probably a half size trade. And for full size, and actually I'm going to be using 1 unit or 1.5 or 2 units on the challenge account and on my personal. As you can see, this is a major play that I'm trying to build here. And let me raise this, and let me move this here. Okay, let me see if you are still able to hear me. Yeah, you should be able to hear me well. But anyway, I was mentioning that on these equal lows, I'm expecting price to get like a major sweep that we can put in finally the week of the monthly candle, which is basically this one. I mean, we already have a small wick here. I'm expecting a larger wick, for example, similar to the one that we have here. Okay, you can see here we took previous small low into the 0.5 of the gap, and we put in a large wick. Okay, this is what I'm expecting. If you want to get, for example, more perspective of how this would look compared to current situation, it would be something like this. Okay, so we had a range here. So we had the previous small low here, previous month low. Actually, no, sorry. Should mark out here. Apologies. Okay, yeah. Here, previous month low. We had a bullish close. Okay, then we mark out point A, point B. Okay, perfect. We pair this with liquidity. Okay, which liquidity points do we have? Okay, we have this one. We also have, for example, this rejection OB, and preferably we want to use the one that is at OT. Okay, so we wait for price to develop. Okay, perfect. We get, for example, here you can see we get a swing, but that's not at our OT level. That doesn't mean we can use it. We simply mean that, for example, if we are going to use it, then we maybe want to wait for another confirmation. Okay, you can see we never had the confirmation. And then we rate the second point of interest, the rejection OB, and we put in a relative volume candle here. You can see here, relative volume candle. Okay, perfect. And then we wait, for example, for some type of strength. For example, if here we also had a range, we can wait for either range reclaim, we can wait for inversions on the daily or on the H4. Any significant time frame can be useful in these scenarios. Okay, I can't use this because I'm on the replay mode. But anyway, once you get, for example, the sign of strength, for example, reclaim of the low, like this one. I mean, value low was pretty much around this zone. But anyway, then okay, you get expansion. I mean, that's pretty much the way I'm looking to play this current range. I mean, you can see we have pretty much the same formation. Majority of my analysis is based on the monthly gap. Monthly gaps, I mentioned this plenty of times, rarely fail. And if they fail, well, I mean, it's fine. It's a high probability point of interest. You are building a whole narrative from the monthly to the weekly to the daily to the lower time frames, because we're going to enter either on daily relative volume or H4 or H1 relative volume, any type of confirmation. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can see it's pretty much the same play. That's here is the hike. That's pretty much what I'm expecting price to do. Let me see if I can move this to here so it's easier. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, I'm checking something. Okay, yeah, so yeah, this is pretty much, guys, the analysis on the monthly. Okay, I'm going to be sending this video on the group in general, but majority again of the analysis is based on the monthly levels. So we want to wait again for these swings to be rated again exactly as the example that I showed here. We have previous small rate, we have OT retracement, we pair it with liquidity, ideally the one that it's on the OT level, and we wait for some type of for example, again, relative volume, inversion, H4 shift, anything works really. I mean, if you see price is creating the higher high here, and you see, for example, a structural confirmation, H1 shift, I mean, anything is useful. And personally, I'm going to play it with the stop loss at the very low, okay? So if, for example, let's say I want to enter here on this swing. If I want to enter here, and I get a structural shift, let's say here, okay, on the H1, and I end up taking the entry here, because price did something like, okay, something like this, let's say. I get the shift, I put my limit. If this happens, I'm going to still put my stop loss here, okay? Why? Because at the end, I mean, price could shift structure and then get some violent move down. I mean, remember, right now we are on a really choppy environment, so I want to keep the invalidations really clean. And if my invalidation is at the monthly low, even if I get the low time frame shift here, I'm still going to put it here. That means also that you could enter, for example, limit. I think personally that I'm going to set a 1% limit, either on this swing or on this swing. Both of the two are fine. And I'm going to put my take profit likely at the POC of the previous range, which is roughly, where is it? Yeah, around this. I always pair them with liquidity, so for me that will be here. This is pretty much the edge of the node. You can see here. We have the edge of the node here, the other edge of the node around this zone, around this zone exactly, actually, to make it a bit more accurate. Yeah. This is pretty much the POC that I'm expecting price to reject. And if of course we flip it, then we can target either range hikes or just all-time hike. But in general, I mean, this is pretty much like the short-term outlook. Again, you can put either a limit here or a limit here. Both are fine. I would recommend you guys to put at least one. I mean, this is not financial advice. I mean, you know that trading have risk, but I do consider that this is a high probability play based on the monthly candle, based on the current conditions, based on statistics also. You can see, for example, this is the statistic of the weekly. Based on the weekly, last 26 weeks, based on the last 26 weeks, this indicator take the average deviation from the opening to the low and to the high, and calculates, for example, for the current period, for the current week, where are we likely to put in the low or the high. For example, for this week was showing that we were likely to put in here the hike of the week. We tap into this level. Personally, I wasn't expecting price to get this high. I was expecting the rejection here at the weekly verbal gap. I took actually a small loss there. And my second point of interest was that if we inverse the gap, we were going to hit this, which you can see we didn't hit it. I mean, we left them as equal hikes. I mean, we had the range hikes here, but yeah, I mean, price with the Trump news basically just pump it and directly dump it. But anyway, let's move on. So yeah, based on the weekly statistics, we should put in here the low of the month, okay? Low of the week, sorry. We still have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days left. So yeah, I'm just going to be waiting for this first point of interest to get hit. And actually, yeah, I'm going to put in 1% here of the challenge account. And then I'm going to look to add 1% more on this low. Now, for this one, I do need to see some relative volume. And I don't want to risk 2% without any type of... Okay, I don't want to risk 2% without any type of extra confirmation. But in general, for me, this seems like a clean analysis. I mean, we have all we need. We have pretty much the weekly statistics. We have daily OT here. We have also a previous one low close, bullish. I mean, it's important to understand that even though we've been downtrending for the last 2-3 months, 1 to 3, almost 3 months, I mean, the overall structure is bullish. You can see here we're trading basically at equilibrium. Actually, let me move this. Yeah, we're basically trading still at equilibrium of the monthly range. So it doesn't make sense for me to turn bearish for some reason. We are also at the monthly fair value gap, holding the CE, which is the important key zone at the moment. I mean, we have plenty of confluences to use this as support here. Yeah, plenty of confluences. Now, if we close below this low, then I would be maybe a bit worried. But I mean, I would take 1% loss, which is fine. I mean, on the challenge account, we're still up. So yeah, I just want to start taking trades with more size, with more risk. Because, I mean, the main idea of the challenge account was entering into trades mostly in swings. But current conditions doesn't allow to capitalize too much on swings. I mean, you can see we've barely had any like major movement. We've been pretty much just ranging for how much? For pretty much in the end of February. And here, for example, I mean, it was pretty much the same. Just like a really large consolidations. So yeah, for example, here we longed, I do remember, and then got stopped out break even here. So yeah, I mean, current conditions are basically just ranging, infinite range. We haven't had, for example, any major trend like this one. Personally, the reason that I decided to enter mostly to swings at the start of the year was because I was expecting continuation of this trend. Something like this. But of course, at this point, I mean, the quarter already ended. So we have to adapt and we have to be paying attention to what the market is offering and not what we are expecting. So yeah, I'm just going to be playing more intradays, more scalps, and again, keep an eye into all these flows, okay? Especially these ones. We're about to hit them. And also something important to mention, okay, about the analysis. We have another confluence here, which is basically Ethereum. I mean, let me raise this. So we have Ethereum, as you can see, taking also previous one low and the low here. So we are creating an SMT divergence exactly here on a key level for related assets. So this is something important to keep in mind. I recommend you guys again to, on your own risk, of course, to keep eyes into this point of interest. It seems like a high probability point of interest. Yeah. I will try to enter 2%. If I manage to enter the 2%, the first one is 1% here limit, okay? I'm going to post this on the Telegram where I'm updating the challenge account. Okay, I'm going to put in here 1% so it's clear for everyone. And I'm going to try to add 1% more here on confirmations. So here we should create SMT divergence if target is hit, which is basically roughly here. That would pretty much finish the phase 1. Okay, so we're going to see if that happens or not, or if we simply just take a loss. Which again, if it happens, it's fine, because at the end, this is a model level, and I would still try, for example, another long here. We reclaim and shift structure and same, probably with 1 or 2%. So that's pretty much the analysis at this point. And for Ethereum, I mean, I think I already did analysis on this one. I'm expecting price to get a small bounce from this OV, the one we have here. I mean, again, we had this nasty large 2 years range, we are deviating lower. Once we reclaim this low and shift the structure on the daily, that's pretty much the confirmation to go full size on altcoins, and I would enter with majority of my portfolio to the coins that I want to buy at this point. But we're likely to form the first reversal here. Okay, this very low is inside our point of interest. We have a monthly fair value gap here. Okay, so this is pretty much the last internal range liquidity that was untapped. You will see this one was already clean, this one was already clean, this one was cleaned, and this one was pretty much the last one. Okay, so this is the last point of interest that we have on Ethereum. If we are expecting that this is a deviation and not a breakdown, if it's a breakdown, well, I mean, we can expect way lower prices on both Ethereum and altcoins. But in the meantime, okay, I want to see price. I mean, we could still continue ranging here a bit, and that would be fine. But once we shift the daily, for example, here, that's your moment to go full size, in my opinion, and from my perspective. Okay, this is where I'm expecting bounce. And we are going to have the SMT divergence, and this is pretty much the daily confirmation. We pair high time frame with intermediate time frame, and if you want to enter first, like at the very beginning of the possible movement, you could use, for example, this H4OB, and you have the previous month low as confluence, so this is also a valid point of interest for an intraday trade towards this zone. But the main trade is going to be looking still for the daily shift. I mean, this is going to be for me the play of the year, likely, where I'm going to put in more size than the rest of the trades. It's important to mention that actually I'm still holding one of my longs. I think this one was shared inside the lab group, and I didn't took it for the challenge account, but basically I entered first to one trade here, and I added again on this monthly low. My stop loss for my trades are here for the swings. Okay, pretty much at the invalidation of the inversion. Okay, so let me see if there's I think there's no comments here. Perfect. So yeah, this pretty much, guys. Let me check, give me a second. I want to see if this is being properly recorded, because this is the plan where I want to cut some clips later. Okay, give me a second. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, this is pretty much, guys, the plan for today and for the next days. And again, I already have one long stop loss here, but that's for my personal account. Okay, that's nothing to do with the challenge account. So let's see, for example, here the time frame. For example, on this H1, maybe H15, I think it's the same. Yeah, on this one, if we get a close, you could try, for example, like a long, use the breaker and move break even here, and then let it ride to see if we maybe can get a bounce here, because at the end we did clean, for example, some of the lows here. It's a valid point of interest. We are going to likely close the day above this previous low. If we get that shift, so it wouldn't be a bad decision maybe to attempt one half size trader. But again, for the full size trade, I want to see the lows. Okay, I mean, we're generating more equal lows here, so I want to see these lows being rated. Remember, SMT divergence, Ethereum already at the lows. Now for Nasdaq, personally, I have no bias. I actually took one trade today. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this one. It was based on the M15 point of interest that we had here. We also had the breaker here. Okay, I was just playing continuation of the bearish trend. You can see here we endorsed this at 9:30, which is the key level from New York session. Okay, 9:30. You can see this is where we have the peak volatility often, and we were tapping into this. Where is it? Okay, yeah, it was on the H1. Yeah, into this H1 50G. Once we had the shift, I waited for price to create the change in the layer here, real simple verbal gap, and then I refined it on the M15 and M1. I mean, I saw that we were generating the 50G, and we put in here an SMT variance. You can see with Nasdaq. Where is it? Here. Yeah. You can see SMT variance on the M15, and then it's simply just waiting for price to give you like the shifting structure, which for me was this one. Okay, this was my shifting structure. I put my stop loss at the rejection OB, and I ended up closing here for 1 unit actually. Why? Because price was already rating this low on the other pair. Here you can see we rated first on the other low, so I didn't want to hold. It was a nice scalp at the end. I mean, it was one quick unit, but yeah, I mean the idea would have been, of course, holding for 2-3 units, which price ended up delivering. But yeah, I mean, I'm always aware of the divergence, and yeah, I mean this is just like nasty price action, like on Nasdaq and ES these days. So I want to be careful in general. And we were forming a major divergence here, so yeah, I want to be careful these days. But again, if we reclaim the opening, monthly opening, and we shift here, you can try long, it's fine. You can target at least just Asia hikes and London hikes here, which actually here we did have the SMT divergence with Ethereum. This was during the session I was sleeping. It's pretty much 1 to 3 AM my time. But this was at the H4 50G. We had a breaker here. Personally, I wasn't aware of this until later. Okay, that we did actually tap into the 50G, to the H4. You can see SMT variance here. So yeah, just be careful, guys. Wait for the point of interest to get rated. And it's pretty much for today. We'll see you guys later. Okay, have a nice day.